So hey anime fans, the series name is What If Naruto Got Harem with Kim Possible, so let's start the series. A small boy with blonde freckles said, "I'm warning you. I've got an imaginary friend and he's huge, Rufus," as three bullies surrounded him. When a voice said, "Hey, don't you guys try picking on me," the three lads turned to see Naruto standing across from them, his face displaying a resolute expression. "Leave him alone," they said. The bully's leader approached Naruto with a smug smile on his face and said, "Oh yeah, or else what?" With a loud thud, Naruto flipped the boy onto his back and exclaimed, "Or else this." The blonde with freckles exclaimed, "Whoa." When the third bully attempted to punch Naruto, he ducked his swing and swept the boy's leg, knocking him to the ground. The two bullies approached Naruto, who avoided them both before tripping the first one to the ground and skidding over the grass. When Naruto approached the three defeated bullies, his eyes glowed red for a while, sending a chill down their spines as they fled in terror. As we approached his fellow blonde, Naruto grinned and said, "Are you okay?" "Thank you, I'm fine," the child said, extending his hand. "My name is Ron Stoppable." Naruto said, "Naruto Uzumaki, nice to meet you, Ron," and shook his hand. A voice screamed out, "Ron! Ron!" Both boys turned to find a young girl in a bright blue frock with pigtails yelling for her friend who had gone missing. Waving to the girl who rushed toward them, Ron said, "Over here, Kim. Kim, meet my new friend Naruto. Naruto, this is Kim Possible. She can do anything." As he gazed at the attractive female in front of him, Naruto's heart started to race and he became rigid as a flush spread across his cheeks. An hour later, Naruto called out to them, "Hey monkey boy, blue boy, and guy in the skirt," to gain their attention. When the boy with the skirt told him, "It's a kilt," as they were making fun of a girl and a guy, Naruto glared at them and shouted, "And does it look like I care stop picking on them?" "You're just a child," he responded, in response to the monkey boy's menacing question, "What are you gonna do about it?" Naruto said, "Spoiler alert, so are you," to him. The blue youngster said, "Go away," without seeming to care. Naruto responded, "Make me," rising to confront him. To the blue child, the monkey replied, "Even as a child, Draken, you are a stubborn fool." The blue boy was stepped on by Naruto. The blue child held the one Naruto stepped on and said, "Ow," hopping on one foot. Naruto yelled, "Boo," as they retreated a bit and fled. "Wimps," he added, pursuing them. After a few minutes, saying, "Hi," Naruto saw a person who resembled him in the parking lot. The look-alike told him, "Wow, I was cute at that age. Keep that spirit buddy, trust me, I'll hold on to that," he said. "Okay, who are you?" Naruto inquired, his head tilted slightly in confusion. After hearing a big boom, the man remarked, "Trust me, little man. You'll be where I am before you know it." Later, "And hey, you see those two?" he asked, pointing to a blonde boy and a redhead girl. "Those two will be great friends, so do me a favor and go make friends with them, you won't regret it," he continued. After nodding, Naruto instantly broke into a sly smile and kicked the man in the shin before running away in laughter as the elder man jumped on his other leg. That guy was weird, he thought to himself. The father grinned as he recalled the good old days and thought, "I swear kids are born to be pains, especially me." Naruto introduced himself to the kid and girl as they had previously met. The redhead girl merely appeared to gaze at him. "Name's Ron Stoppable," Ron said, appropriately introducing himself. The redhead continued, as she gazed at him. Ron remarked, Kim possible, as Kim dragged herself away for a while. Kim murmured, Kim possible, to him. You're cute, she admitted. Naruto remarked to her, and you're pretty. Ron remarked, and I'm hungry, as his stomach rumbled. The three of them laughed. Well, at least that is the same, the man thought as he observed the three stooges, a stupid golfer, a man who was equally egotistical and stupid, and a man who had an excessive monkey obsession. With Naruto. After Kim and Ron were picked up, Naruto said, later, and he waited in front of his father when he noticed another girl waiting similarly. Hello, he said, waving at her. Hi, murmured the girl tremblingly. Naruto said, I'm Naruto Uzumaki, without knowing her name. Bonnie Rockwaller, a bashful Bonnie said. Naruto questioned, who are you waiting for? Your parents. My mom, you? Inquired Bonnie inquisitively. Naruto addressed her as, Dad, sensing that things were becoming awkward. Bonnie asked, hoping to pass the time and avoid boredom, wanna play a game while we wait? Naruto responded, sure, tag you're it, as he fled and she followed. After several years, Naruto said, we're going to be late, and he started to run behind Kim. As they closed the school, Naruto remarked, it's fine, but we're running the clock. They noticed Bonnie holding the door open for them as they approached the school. Come on, she shouted, and they rushed inside as she shut the door behind them. Naruto remarked, later Kim later Bonnie, good luck with your report, while attending class. Kim and Bonnie told him, later. Kim said, come on Wade, while her report was publishing. Ron remarked, hey KP, to her. Kim said, hey Ron, as the bell sounded and her report printed. Ron remarked, Kim, you are running the clock, as Bonnie left. When the bell rang, Kim said, I still have time the bell hasn't dashed, before they both parted ways and hurried to class. Barkin exclaimed, possible, upon seeing Kim. Fuck it, Kim mused to herself. After school, later. You got detention that's classic, Naruto told Kim while glancing at Kim's younger brothers. As her brothers went, Kim remarked, there are times when I think you should move in because you're one of the very few people who can handle the twerps. Although they were jokers, Naruto responded, don't be like that, they may be crazy but you love them all the same, because in his opinion, they were harmless. Kim laughed and added, yeah, I'll admit that, without them it'd kinda be boring around here honestly, even though they may have driven her insane. Naruto chuckled and remarked, yeah, they're just doing what younger siblings are meant to do. Kim uttered the depressing words, I'm going to die in detention. Naruto laughed as she tapped his shoulder and remarked, probably but hey it's an hour with my dad yeah you're so dead. Unknowingly, Kim mumbled, wouldn't mind if it was with you, expressing her thoughts. What? Said Naruto inquisitively. Nothing. Kim exclaimed as soon as she realized what she had just said. Naruto asked her, want any tips on how to handle my dad? There's a way to handle him? Kim inquired, startled. Naruto remarked, military men like respect, so do that and he'll be less hard on you, since his father admired those who showed respect. With curiosity, Kim inquired, anything else? She was going to want to write these things down, so Naruto asked, you got your notebook? Soon after, the communicator went off. The words, oh thank you Wade thank you, came out of Kim's relief. Wade was questioned by Naruto, where to buddy? Wade responded, the Amazon, only updating them on the professor who had been in touch with them. Kim told him, meet up in an hour, and he nodded. Done, Naruto declared, and as he was leaving, he passed a window. For a little while, he glanced at it and noticed that he was wearing a new costume. What was that? As he saw himself, but different, he thought. After with Naruto, Naruto put on his mission clothing, a black tank top with some orange graphics on it, and asked, "You mind letting Kim off with a warning, Dad? Why do I get a sense of déjà vu when I put this on?" His attire always seemed more organic and significant, he thought. Barkin was in the middle of his rant when Naruto interrupted him, stating, "No son, this is a lesson about responsibility, this is a lesson she needs to learn she has to. I'll join football." "I'll join football if you let Kim off the hook," Naruto replied. Barkin remarked, "You sure, son? This is a pretty big step to go for your girlfriend," before giggling at Naruto's red complexion. Naruto, concealing his blush, told him, "She's not my girlfriend and neither is Bonnie, so stop teasing me about them." Barkin stated plainly, if a man doesn't like a girl, he doesn't follow her around the world. Do you want me on the football team or not?" Naruto asked, blushing. "Done," Barkin responded to him while shaking his hand. After a few hours, Kim gave him a hug and exclaimed, "Oh, thank you." The two exchanged glances before blushing at the proximity of their faces as they parted ways. With sadness, Rufus muttered, "Oh brother," as he emerged from Ron's pocket. "Quiet you," Naruto interrupted him. After a few minutes, Naruto asked the man, what was on this computer, after noticing that it displayed, "Download complete." Kim said, pulling up security now, while Wade worked on her communicator. In less than 4 seconds, they were all destroyed by a woman who raced in. Naruto said, "That takes skill," as he observed her moves and saw how beautifully she carried them out. Kim asked him, "Are you checking her out?" with obvious envy. "Why do I feel like I've seen her before?" she wondered herself. Wade pulled up her mugshot and stated, "Here's her file, her name's Shego, wow, she's wanted in at least 11 different countries." As if some bells were ringing in his head, Naruto said, "No, that wasn't it. Wait, did you say Shego?" Wade answered him inquisitively, "Yeah, why?" because it seemed to him that he knew her. Naruto remarked, "I feel like I heard that from somewhere," recalling Kim's talkative cousin Larry. As his hunger rumbled, Ron remarked, "Who cares, let's just go, I'm hungry for some bueno nacho." As they set off, Naruto thought, "Go," as the phrase caused some thoughts of Shego to spin. "Dan can't remember let's go," he murmured. 2 hours later, Naruto questioned his pals, "An island? What kinda guy builds a lair on an island?" That's like screaming I'm right here, as this felt like a move meant for someone in the 1960s. "A moron," muttered Kim. Naruto replied, "Imagine if he never went on the actual beach, as it appeared to be a respectable one." Ron told them, "Some people have too much money," and Rufus nodded in agreement. "Well, see you down below," Naruto said as he dove into the sea. After 15 minutes, Naruto stood above a tiny platform and muttered, "I feel very insulted that we got caught," with the others nodding in accord. "Ah, welcome Kim Possible and the Spiraling Shadow," a blue-skinned man stated. "Curious," Naruto said, "Thank you. Now can you tell us who the hell you are? And why you're talking to us like one of those movie villains you see on late-night TV," Kim replied. Ron remarked, "Seriously man, this looks a bit cliché, because the shark pool seemed excessive." As he got shakes from them, Draken whimpered, "Oh shut up Shego, you seriously never heard of me?" "Duh, Draken. One of the world's greatest evil masterminds." Naruto laughed and said, "Nope, what's with the blue skin? You put on a bad thing of paint that got permanent? Shego covered her lips to contain her laughter. Looking at Shego, Naruto cupped his chin and couldn't help but notice that she seemed familiar. Naruto pointed to the green femme fatale and remarked, "Hey, haven't I seen you somewhere before?" Shego remarked, "Maybe a few dozen most wanted posters, as that was where her photos were typically seen." Naruto answered, No, I think it was in a comic book," which made Shego tense. Shaking her head, Shego exclaimed, what? No. Never. Naruto was about to respond, "Yeah, I think it was the last issue of Team," when a stray energy blast interrupted. Shego yelled in anger at her former life almost being revealed, "You talk too much." "Oh shit!" Naruto said, lifting his hands as a blue aura spread across them as the blast struck. Shego exclaimed, "What the?" as it evoked a lot of feelings and a sense of déjà vu. "So what mutant, lab experiment, alien," she said, putting some theories out there. Naruto blasted her back, saying, "Nope, but not one to look a gift horse in the mouth." As her hands lit, Shego grabbed her tummy before grinning back at him. "Okay, for once, my job is interesting," she murmured as she charged at him. Astonished, Ron asked Kim, "Since when does he have glowing hands?" Kim remarked, "New to me too." A loud voice yelled, "Feed them to the sharks, Draken." The words, so cliché, dude, Ron told him. Draken shouted, "Tell it to the sharks," as Ron and Kim plunged into it. Naruto exclaimed, "Guys," before plunging down. Shego uttered the words, "Ah," wanting to continue fighting. When Naruto grabbed Kim and attempted to grab Ron, a shark came toward him and he thought he should swim faster. As he grabbed Ron and swam up, the shark came close and bit his leg, but to his amazement, he felt no pain. He kicked the shark, which fortunately released its hold, and he was able to remove them all. Draken whimpered, "Aw man, next time I'm using crocodiles." Naruto questioned Draken, "Is he serious? Are you serious?" Since Draken hadn't fed them in a long time and those creatures were large, Shego remarked, "Sadly yes, but I gotta say I'm impressed you survived the sharks." Naruto added, "Thank you, you know he should be the henchman not you, you're actually a threat," since she appeared to be far too talented to be a servant. As his fists flared with green flames, Shego replied, "Thanks, now how's about round 2? Naruto looked at his hands and murmured, "Ugh," unsure of what to do. "Ah, are your powers not working? I thought the spiraling shadow was a very skilled person, guess all those rumors were just talk," Shego grinned. Naruto grinned as his hands blazed as he uttered, "Oh, it is on, beautiful." Draken remarked, "Shego help, I'm being assaulted by their buffoon," while they were slapping each other. Really? It was depressing to watch, Naruto and Shego thought. Shego turned to Naruto after feeling him slap her ass, jolting her out of her reverie. Naruto laughed and remarked, "Had to get in one last hit." Shego remarked, "You're either brave or stupid," and was somewhat impressed that he had the courage to do so. Naruto winked at her and added, "I'd say a bit of both, later," before he began to sprint. "Did you two grab the stuff?" he asked Kim and Ron. Ron remarked, "We did the next best thing," and as they heard a tremendous explosion, he shouted, "We better go," as they rushed out. After a few minutes, Naruto remarked, "I have to admit, excluding the lair, this is a decent beach," as the explosion caused the waves to become somewhat choppy. While reclining on the sand, Ron remarked, "Yeah, just smell that ocean air." He then leaped to his feet in shock and exclaimed, "Wow, something is biting me, as he bolted. Kim remarked, "It's a small hermit crab," finding this amusing. Naruto asked, "What am I sitting on?" after noticing a rough patch in the sand. After dusting it off, he noticed a handle and pulled it to reveal a treasure chest filled with gold and diamonds. "This idiot had treasure on this island and didn't know," he said, believing Draken to be a bigger fool than he initially believed. As he discovered it, Kim asked him inquisitively, "Well, what are you going to do with it?" Naruto answered, "Well, I do help my dad with the stock market," with a responsible attitude. "Or I'll go to Vegas, I'm great at gambling," he said. "You're 17, Kim told him, merely reminding him that it was against the law. Naruto told her, "It's almost 18 and people hardly ever check for IDs. "Really?" inquired Kim inquisitively. "Well, I was going to use some of my money to get you some nice things, but if you're against it," replied Naruto. Kim remarked, "Take me shopping at Club Banana and we're good," before caving in. Naruto was going to be clever about this. "Besides, you can never have too much money, it just depends on how you use it," he remarked. "I feel like my dad gave me a similar talk, but I don't think it was about money," Ron remarked, scratching his mind in an attempt to recall. Telling him, no, I've got nothing to say to that if it's what I think it is, Naruto." Kim remarked, "Our ride's here," as the boat emerged. When Naruto said, "Good, now Ron, give me a hand with this." "What? Why me?" inquired Ron. Naruto told him, "Because I said so," after they had moved it and discovered 3 more chests buried beneath it. "Okay, this is a good day," he exclaimed joyfully. An hour later, Kim remarked, "So how did you do that thing with your hands?" while Naruto gazed at his reflection in the ocean. "No idea, I just felt it," Naruto told her honestly. "I could buy a ramen stand," he added, but Kim pulled his ear. "You and Ron eat enough unhealthy food that I wouldn't trust either of you alone being behind the counter of selling the stuff you love," Kim added, dismissing that notion. Naruto raised his shirt and said, "Look at this, does this look like a flat, fat stomach?" Kim murmured, "Why, you work out like crazy," while she stared and fought the impulse to slobber. "Yeah, and I also burn calories like crazy, that's why I have to eat so much," Naruto stated while removing his shirt. "So I guess I'll be seeing you and Bonnie more in your cheerleader outfits, now that I'm joining the football team," he continued. "Awesome," thought Kim, mentally yelling, "and thanks you didn't have to do that for me," she continued, still feeling deeply moved and feeling special since he had done that for her. Naruto told her, "I know, but you're worth it." "Perhaps I should try more sports like basketball," he replied. "Are you joining them just because you got me out of detention, or are you making an excuse to see me and the others in our cheer outfits?" Kim asked him with a flirty tone. Naruto jokingly remarked, "Well, it'd be a nice sight, and maybe you could see me without my shirt on some more," oblivious to Kim's flush. After a few hours, "Am I ill?" As Naruto viewed his reflection, he thought, appearing quite pale. "Naruto," a deep, powerful voice called out to him. Naruto looked around and said, "Hello." He quickly had a headache after hearing other voices calling his name till they stopped talking. Did I lose it? He wondered if he was simply hearing things. He let out a moan of pain and exclaimed, "No, you idiot," to which the voice replied, "Remember who I am, at least these other idiots you can forget." "You can't forget us, kid," remarked an elderly but wise voice. Saying to himself, "It's finally happened, Naruto, you've gone insane," a loud and strange voice exclaimed, "It ain't so bad." Kurama told him, "Okay, Naruto, enough of this. Remember my name." It's Kurama Naruto. You were and are my best friend. Naruto was going to say, I remember dreaming about having a fox, I was gonna name him that, when he heard some laughter. Wanting certain gears to turn in his head, Kurama told him, shut it, and Naruto, you kicked, shouted, and were an overall pain in the ass. You fought to protect your friends and never in your life gave up on them. Naruto exhaled sharply and exclaimed, would you give me a damn minute to think, you loudmouth fox? Well, the loud, strange voice remarked, at least he remembered that. Naruto shouted, shut up Shikaku, but he quickly realized what he had said, and things gradually became clear to him. There, brat, let the gears turn in that stubborn head of yours, Kurama remarked with a small laugh. Before his eyes rolled up and he fell to the ground, Naruto gripped his head as memories started to flood his mind. The following morning, as his father applied smelling salts, Naruto woke up to discover Barkin waving something in front of his nose, which made him cough and choke. What the hell, Dad? He said. As Naruto appeared more toned, Barkin asked his son, you're on the bathroom floor, what happened? And did you get more muscles? Naruto exclaimed, oh crap, as his life, or lives, in this case, came crashing down on him. I'm alright, Dad, he responded, rising up and asking, are you people here? I thought to myself. Kurama remarked, good to hear you again, brat. Are all of you present? Naruto questioned him. Duh, remarked Shikaku breezily. Yes, Matatabi exclaimed joyfully. Hello, Isabu remarked coolly. Hey Naruto, Son Goku said. Naruto, it's nice to see you again, Kokuo replied coolly. Hey. With excitement, Saiken said to him. Hey, Chome remarked plainly to him. What's going on? Gyuki spoke to him with a little more excitement than usual. You're aware of my presence, Kurama remarked. Barkin started to check Naruto and remarked, are you okay? You're ignoring me. Yes, I'm okay, Dad, geez, Naruto answered, shocked that his former life had returned to haunt him. I must ask, Naruto, what the devil is wrong with you? Kurama told him plainly, what did I do? Naruto inquired while he was getting dressed. Are you oblivious to all things feminine? Kurama remarked, and Matatabi and Kokuo even added that it was awful. While suffering from a migraine, Naruto remarked, this is coming from a type of being that doesn't even have a dick or has anyone that could try said dick on that isn't a member of his family. No offense to the other 8 of you, he thought contrite. Inquiring as to whether Naruto was ready to attend school, Barkin said, hey, you want the day off? Naruto exclaimed, as tempting as that is, I'm okay, as he left the room. In fact, I feel better than ever, he remarked, joyfully, relieved to be healthy. Barkin told him, all right, then I'll see you at the tryouts. Naruto said, tryouts please, because he was in a different league before he got his memories with them. Barkin exclaimed, ha, that's my boy. After school, later, Kim asked Ron inquisitively, hey Ron, does Naruto seem different? Ron told her, no, but he does seem happier. Kim questioned, glancing around, where is he? Where is Bonnie? She inquired. Not seeing the quarterback, Ron inquired, where's Brick? Alongside Bonnie. Brick, I told you 100 times I'm not interested, Bonnie replied. Come on babe please, Brick murmured, grinning and brushing his hair back. Bonnie responded, no, now leave me alone, but Brick grabbed her hand and drew her back to him. Let me go, she begged. Brick told her, no, come on, go on a date with it, it'll be fun. Bonnie said, I said no, as she struggled to get away. Brick said to her, well, then, how about we enjoy ourselves here? Brick turned to see Naruto when he felt someone grab his other hand. Naruto told him sternly, it's not nice to pick on ladies. Brick uttered the words, back off bro, without even recognizing him. Make me, murmured Naruto gravely. Brick spun around and punched him. The big kid grunted in agony as Naruto grabbed and twisted back Brick's wrist. That isn't any way to treat a girl, Flag, you need to learn some manners, he stated. Brick released his grip and gave him a scowl. Brick said, back off Whiskers, this isn't any of your business. Brick cracked his knuckles, but before he could move, he was struck by a powerful uppercut that knocked him off his feet. Naruto then threw a barrage of punches at the big bully more quickly than anyone could see. That's my friend, so I'm making it my business, Naruto replied. Brick landed hard, twitching on the ground with a black eye, shattered teeth, and bloody nose. Bonnie remarked, that was amazing, as she was astounded that Naruto defeated a man who was 3 times his size. No man is going to mess with you without dealing with me, Bon Bon, stated Naruto. When he used her pet name and sounded a little possessive of her, Bonnie bit her lip a little. Oh crap, the girls, I gotta get back to practice, she murmured as she hurried away. The cheerleading and football teams were practicing outside while the sun shone on the Middleton High football field. The girls used their hands to fan themselves as they watched the blonde teenager take the field, his muscles showing through his shirt making it even more alluring. Naruto yanked off his helmet, shaking his head as sweat trickled down his face, but it seemed to them like it was happening in slow motion. When Kim and Bonnie saw their childhood buddy licking her lips with temptation and hungry lust in her eyes, they were both in amazement. In an attempt to cool himself, Naruto then removed his shirt and wrung it out to remove some of the perspiration. A few of the girls passed out upon witnessing his strong and powerful physique. Bonnie bit her lip to examine him before noticing Kim's extremely red face and blood dripping from her nose, which she attempted to hide from Bonnie but was utterly unsuccessful. Okay men, that's the end of practice, go hit the showers. Draken yelled. As the girls ran back to the gym, Naruto glanced at them and caught a glimpse of their panties, which made him flush. He then felt someone watching him and turned to see Bonnie walking a little behind him. Bonnie winked at Naruto as she lifted her skirt just enough to show the boy her tight red thong between her cheeks, giving the impression that she was not wearing any underwear. Bonnie gave Naruto a startled and flushed look as she walked back to the gym, winking and slightly swaying her butt. Matatabi remarked, well, at least the girls are smart, and was relieved that Naruto was drawn to intelligent women rather than some dim-witted fools. Draken joyfully slapped Naruto on the back and exclaimed, good news, son. You're the new quarterback. Naruto was unaffected. Presuming he was unaware, Naruto remarked, great, but what happened to Brick? Draken handed him the football and stated, he got hurt and since he'll be taking too long to heal, we need a new quarterback, and that's you, son. Naruto questioned, you sure the other players are okay with that? They voted you in themselves, apparently Brick didn't have a lot of fans among his teammates, Draken stated. Naruto thought, I'm surprised he had fans, period. In the changing room with Kim, as Kim changed, she thought, I swear he's so hot, picturing Naruto shirtless and sweating. Bonnie thought, he's so frustrating, groaning in frustration as she wished Naruto would approach her. But that body, she thought, knowing that she would be dreaming about it for some time. I've been his friend for years, and I want more, Kim reflected to herself. I must initiate contact, Bonnie told herself. Wanting the blonde, they each thought, I need to ask Naruto out. After finishing, the two girls left the locker room and noticed they were going in the same way. Is she? Observing the expression in the other person's eyes, they thought, oh no. They believed that they were both rushing to find Naruto in the field. He was packing things when the two finally located him. They both shouted, pushing each other, Naruto. Do you have any dollar bills with you? Shikaku questioned him since it seemed like the ideal chance. Kokuo and Matatabi struck him with their tails. As he ran toward them, Naruto exclaimed, whoa, whoa, hey, hey. Don't break it up, please. Shikaku suggested that he record it. Kokuo and Matatabi slapped him once more. Can you two calm down? Naruto asked Kim and Bonnie as he stood between them. Now what's the problem, he said. He blushed in shame as they both answered, I want to go on a date with you. Kurama told him, I retract what I said, perhaps you are not a complete moron. You have no love life, so how can you insult mine? Naruto asked him. I'll kill you if you keep talking about mine because it's funny, Kurama told him. As the tailed beasts informed him that Kurama detested witnessing something so cute in Naruto as a toddler, Naruto chuckled and remarked, sounds like someone wants another meeting with Barney. No. Kurama remarked. Naruto questioned, now what's this about going on a date with me? At the same moment, the two girls started talking, but they looked at one another so intensely that Naruto could see sparks where their eyes met. Enough! Naruto yelled, cutting them off. You two have been good friends for so long and now you're going to risk that for me? I can't believe you, I figured you'd be much more mature than this but apparently not, I've seen your rivalry at times but this, added he. Now feeling awful, the two looked down while Bonnie rubbed her arm. Do you still have those rights that King gave you? Kim said after glancing at Bonnie and Naruto. They had discovered a conspiracy to attack a prince during one of their missions, and when they told the king, he gave them Naruto more than anything else. With interest, Bonnie inquired, what rights? With an anxious scratch at the back of his head, Naruto remarked, right, I forgot about those. Bonnie repeated, what rights? Before Kim whispered in her ear, you can have a harem legally. Bonnie exclaimed in shock. Naruto remarked, say it louder, I don't think the school heard you, because he had enough women interested in him, if they discovered this, he would be done. Kim responded, oh like you'd complain, to him. Walking near him, Bonnie smirked mischievously and said, wait, is that why I always see you checking out the cheer squad? Maybe, Naruto remarked, stepping back a little. Kim walked over and asked, you want to date the cheer squad's captain and co-captain? Naruto grinning malevolently, Bonnie following her example. When Naruto told them, to be honest, I'd get with any girl you all give the green light for. Bonnie smiled and said, well ain't that sweet, tell me do you know what friends with benefits mean? Naruto replied, yeah. Since you're allowing us to be the first two of this harem, if there's girls we like but don't agree on having them be in the harem, we could always make them a friend with benefits, Bonnie replied. Kim told him in a straightforward manner, like girls in other countries or that work far away. You two are surprisingly calm about this, Naruto said, the girls standing on either side of him, blushing as he heard their chuckles and smiles. Bonnie, Kim, and all the other girls took a sneak peek at Naruto and knew he was well equipped, so they remarked, well, I guess we've always had something for each other, but also for you, so since it would be greedy to keep you to ourselves, why not just share you? As they seized his arms and held each one near to their bodies, Naruto questioned, so, what now? Kim grinned and said, now you stop worrying because you have 2 pieces of beautiful arm candy," before planting a kiss on his lips. Bonnie kissed him as soon as Kim retreated, and then they both rested their heads on his shoulders and left together. After a few weeks, Bonnie asked Kim, "Why are we doing this?" as they were working a shift at Club Bana, which was enjoyable because they were able to shop here and receive a discount. "Because our generous loving boyfriend got us those jackets in our colors, mind you," she replied to Kim. "Right," Bonnie said, liking the jacket he had given her, but she didn't want to be dependent on him all the time and wanted to ultimately get him something. "How is Ron doing?" she asked, genuinely impressed that he was a hard worker. Since Ron was essentially a culinary critic and a skilled chef, Kim remarked, "It's his favorite restaurant, what do you expect?" As he entered, Naruto said, "Hey girls." "Hey honey," Kim exclaimed joyfully. "Here to shop for us?" questioned Bonnie, who was both pleased and apprehensive. Curious, Naruto questioned, "Nah, how are the jackets?" Kim said the word "cool" because hers was a vivid purple. Bonnie exclaimed, "Great," because hers was pink with blue undertones. Naruto questioned them, "Where's Ron? Is he and Rufus inhaling the nacho cheese?" "Yeah, they're working at Bueno Nacho," Kim replied. The statement, "and the manager let them?" "I trust them as much as I'd trust Scooby and Shaggy," was made by Naruto because, although it was true, Rufus' excessive nacho consumption made no sense. "You're one, no actually you have more control around food than them," Kim replied. Bonnie stated, "And Ron got promoted to manager." Surprised yet proud of his friend, Naruto exclaimed, "Wow, who knew he had a work ethic?" Kim asked him inquisitively, "So anything else?" as she wondered why else he was stopping by. "Yeah," Naruto laughed and told her, "I discovered that Wade has been reading your diary." Kim typed down her fantasies with Naruto and angrily exclaimed, "What? Ooh, if I could get my hands on him, in that." Surprised that her brothers hadn't done that yet, Bonnie said, "What, your brothers don't do that?" Kim recalled the conversation and threat she had given them if they ever did that. "No, they actually like living," she replied. Concerned, Naruto questioned, "Have your sisters ever done that, Bon Bon?" Bonnie grinned and added, "Tried once but I have dirt on them so they won't try again." She and her family used threats and blackmail to get what they wanted. With his orange communicator on vibration, Naruto remarked, "Cool also." "What's the sitch, Wade?" he said, as Kim gave him a frown for snatching her line. When Wade told them, "Draken's back, he's busted out of jail," knowing that Shego had to be involved, Naruto said, "I'm amazed he knows how to work a door," and questioned him, "Where are they?" Wade shouted, Duh, bingo. Wisconsin," as he pinpointed their location. When Naruto saw the video of Shego wearing a jacket he had purchased for Kim and Shego, he said, "Do me a favor and see if Club Banana in Wisconsin was robbed." Wade said, "Got it, sending you the location," to him. As they made their way to the changing area, Bonnie remarked, "Looks like we're taking off early." Out of curiosity, Naruto asked her, "You're joining on the mission?" Bonnie opted to try it since she thought, "You guys seem to have fun, so why not?" Naruto said, as he glanced at Kim. In an attempt to reassure him, Kim stated, "Don't worry, I've given her a couple tips, she's ready." Since Kim had been doing this since middle school, Naruto reflected, well, they both did receive the same cheerleading. The trio blanched as they discovered Ron and Rufus, both of them with melted nacho cheese streaming from their mouths. Naruto asked them, "Really?" When Ron told them, "I couldn't help it, I wanted my Neko with extra cheese." Looking at a taco shell stuffed with meat, nachos, and a lot of cheese, Naruto exclaimed. The fuck is a Neko? How are you not dead? He wondered, given that it was packed with cheap goods and a lot of fat. Ron said, big mouth, while consuming it. Dude 1, that looks disgusting, and 2 come on Draken is loose, stated Naruto. Kim answered, yeah, let's go. Ron told him, I can't. Since corporate adored the Neko and Ron appeared to be doing far better than him, Ned was grateful for the opportunity to say, yes you can, you're fired. Naruto yanked Ron, spinning Rufus in the air before Ron grasped him. There now come on, Naruto urged. After a few hours, wondering how much milk was wasted on this, Matatabi remarked, I wish there was a giant glass of milk somewhere. As Rufus ate the cheese, Naruto said, who in the hell makes a building out of goddamn Swiss cheese? Bonnie exclaimed, forget that, how has it not melted or rotted yet, in awe at the dairy's continued integrity and edible state. I swear this guy really is insane and very, very stupid, stated Naruto. Since this was the simplest break-in to a lair ever, Ron remarked, like seriously we can just walk in through one of the holes. As Rufus consumed the equivalent of 3 bricks of cheese, Naruto told Ron, stop him from eating it, you have no idea where that cheese has been. Get him before he messes himself up eating too much or something, he urged. Ron replied, come on buddy, we have a mission here, while he grabbed up his young companion. Kim and Bonnie displayed their hair dryers with grappling hooks. A grappling hook protruded from Naruto's suit wrist as he gripped his hand. Kim told him, I promise you always get the best toys. Naruto said, your stuff ain't so bad either, as they ascended. After a few minutes, surprised, Draken said, Kim Possible and the spiraling shadow? How did you get in here? Oh my god, you are so ridiculous. Naruto remarked, pinching the bridge of his nose. Really? You have a building made of Swiss cheese, which has holes. Hey, this time he has actual henchmen, Kim remarked, gesturing to the numerous men in red suits. Naruto told his companions, they are not getting paid enough to deal with this moronic lunatic. With a haughty and arrogant tone, Draken declared, hey, I'm trying to use a giant laser and a magma cannon to melt Wisconsin to make my own country called Drakenville. Wisconsin is a state, not a country, and Drakenville, really? That's the best you could come up with? Bonnie responded. And seriously, don't you know that if you turn it on, you'll melt your own building? She inquired. Shego and his henchmen were laughing at what they were saying, but Draken snarled and told them to shut up and do your jobs. The henchmen all stopped laughing except for one. He was silenced by Draken's yell, stop laughing. Shego wiped away a tear and said, okay, I'm fine. You owe me a rematch, blonde. Throwing a ball directly at Draken's nuts, Naruto yelled, hey Draken, think fast. It was a useless instrument, he told the man. Draken fell to his knees, his voice rising to operatic peaks. Ron scratched his ears and exclaimed, ow. Shego said, wow, for such a grating voice, I'm impressed he reached such levels of volume, as she was astounded by Draken's range. Shego yelled as she felt a familiar hand slap her ass after noticing that the dark glasses the henchmen were all wearing were broken. Naruto laughed and remarked, I swear you make it too easy, before he leaped back to avoid Shego's swipe. Shego boldly declared, when I get my hands on you, we'll see how cocky you are. Can you deliver the heat, Matatabi? Matatabi appeared to approve of Naruto's suggestion, so he asked. As Shego started to perspire, she questioned, Draken, why is it so damn hot? Bonnie wiped the perspiration from her cheeks and remarked, "Yeah, it is roasting." Shego exclaimed, "I can do that to Handsome," as she created a big green ball of plasma and flung it after jumping back to avoid a blue fireball. As he leaped the wall and was struck by the blazing hot plasma, Naruto thought, "Thank you Shego." He also thought, "Thank you Matatabi," since he had used her chakra to expel a lot of heat from his body. Draken looked up to see that the cheese that had built his lair was starting to melt, and he grumbled as a glob of melted Swiss cheese fell on his face. Additionally, a piece of melted cheese fell into Draken's weapons controls, sparking them and turning on the laser, as evidenced by the buzzing sound it was producing. In terror, Draken exclaimed, "No, it's going to explode." Given how much heat it would emit, Naruto said, "Okay, let's go." "Until next we meet," he remarked to Shego. Shego declared, "I'll kick your ass one day," as she couldn't deny how much fun their fights were. Naruto responded, "Whatever you say, Lima Bean," as they parted ways on the melted cheese currents. Kim remarked, "This was a weird day," while they were floating on melted cheese. With Ron and Rufus sticking their heads in the liquid cheese, Naruto observed gravely, "Believe it or not, I've had weirder," adding, "Also why guys?" Ron remarked, "Like you wouldn't if this was ramen," while dripping cheese. Rufus said to him, "Yeah," while licking his face. Naruto told them, "Okay, valid point," as he was unable to contradict that. As they laughed together, Kim remarked, "Hopefully the next lair has nothing to do with food." After a few days, Ron was protesting about a temple that had monkeys on it when Naruto retorted, "Ron, come on, it's just a temple." Sun told him, "Be careful, Naruto. I'm feeling strange here." He sensed something strange about this shrine. Okay, a temple that's real, Naruto thought, wondering that it was even conceivable because, aside from a few oddities, everything appeared to be regular. The statement, "I'll stay with him and Mr. Monty Fisk," was made by Bonnie while she stood protecting Ron. As they entered the temple, Naruto replied, "Let's go, Kim." "You getting an Indiana Jones vibe?" he asked Kim. When they went into a trapdoor, Kim laughed and remarked, "Yep. All you're missing is the hat and whip." As they continued walking, Naruto laughed and started humming the Indiana Jones theme. He then started scaling walls and setting off additional traps. "What kinda traps lead you to the treasure the traps are supposed to kill you from?" he questioned Kim in astonishment, thinking it was foolish. Kim remarked, "Well, the world is filled with idiots," having also wondered about it, and they eventually arrived at the idol. "Pressure plate?" she was asked by Naruto. "Yep," Kim replied, having seen enough films to confirm that. Naruto remarked, "I always wonder how it never went down with the thing on top, since they always dropped down after the object was removed." "Ready to run?" Kim inquired inquisitively. "Yep," Naruto said as they soon scooped up the statue. Of course, the giant stone ball classic, he thought to himself as they heard a rumble. Kim exclaimed, "Run," as they dashed for the door. Naruto halted, pushed his palms against the stone ball, and shouted, "Screw this," stopping it. His hands were one thing, but stopping that was crazy, so Kim thought, "Okay, really need to ask how he's doing this." "Now let's walk out," Naruto said her after smashing the stone ball with a single squeeze. Kim followed him after shaking herself out of her daze. Later evening, "You sure you wanna know?" Naruto questioned his companions. Bonnie told him, "Either tell us or we'll wait to make out with you." Ron told him, "Still a booyah man scoring 2 ladies." Rufus uttered, "Booyah," while munching on some nachos. Naruto gave them detailed yet succinct explanations of who he was. As it was awesome, Kim remarked, "Wow, we're actually dating a reincarnated ninja, awesome." After practicing ninja techniques he had seen in movies, Ron asked, "Can you teach like really cool ninja moves?" and then kicked himself, causing him to fall onto his back. Naruto responded, "Yes, but definitely not any of that, as that was funny garbage." "Cool, anybody want some s'mores?" "I brought plenty of marshmallows and chocolates," Bonnie replied. Kim remarked, "I got plenty of graham crackers, since she likes to be organized." Naruto said, "Oh great, don't tell me you're getting camp flashbacks again, Ron," after noticing that he was shaking. Ron told him, "Don't laugh, I still shiver remembering that chimp, because the memory was still bothering him." "Oh for the love of, that chimpanzee was the most harmless chimp I've ever seen," Naruto told him. Ron told him, "Animals love you, man," since none of the animals detested Naruto. Naruto only told him, "Yeah, well, I remember primates seem to like you." Since all he could recall was the howling, Ron remarked, "Well, I don't like them. Remember that one time at the zoo?" Naruto said him plainly, "The real question is, do you remember?" Ron told him, "You mean that chimp grabbing me, yes." But Ron's anxiety told him otherwise. "It didn't grab you, it pushed you out of the way of that runaway food cart," Naruto explained. Kim remarked, "Yeah Ron, I mean why were you afraid of that chimp at camp?" "It never attacked you, because he returned unharmed." "Let's just agree to disagree," Ron remarked, avoiding conversation and feeling quite hungry. "Now let's make s'mores before Rufus eats all the marshmallows," he said. A few hours later. While constructing the tent, Naruto noticed Ron and Rufus dozing off in Ron's sleeping bag, both of them sporting chocolate on their lips. Monty asked him, "You are Naruto Uzumaki, correct?" as he appeared out of nowhere. Acting like an emitter, Naruto shouted, "Fuck," while clutching his heart. "Don't ever do that again." He wanted to know what the man wanted, so he questioned him, "What do you want, rich guy?" "I hear you are well versed in martial arts, a black belt in almost all forms of fighting," Monty told him. Naruto said, "Yeah, what? You want some lessons?" "It's impressive, but I prefer an older styled form," Monty said him. Naruto thought, this guy is a creep, because of his creepy nature and mannerisms. With great anxiety, Monty inquired, "How is the idol?" As a blood vessel appeared, Naruto remarked, "It's safe, don't worry, you'll get your monkey thing." There must be something about this idol he's not telling us, if he's getting this worked up, he thought. Monty responded tensely, "Thank you, do you care enough to show me where it is?" Naruto remarked, "Not exactly, but it's in my tent, don't worry, nobody can get it but me," as the intrigue of this exchange grew. Monty said, "Really? Care to show it to me?" as he moved forward, reducing the amount of personal space. As he left, Naruto said, "No, now are you gonna keep creeping me out, or are you going to let me get some sleep?" Kurama told Naruto, "Reminds me of Orochimaru, but more monkey-like than Snake, and a bigger idiot." As Naruto climbed into his sleeping bag between Kim and Bonnie, he laughed in agreement. The following day, Kim inquired curiously, "You okay?" "I don't feel right leaving the idol with him, he seems too creepy and shady," she replied to Naruto. Wondering if he was overanalyzing everything, Bonnie questioned, "Are you sure you're just not paranoid?" "Paranoid? Remember, it was my gut that revealed that gym teacher back in the 4th grade as a pedophile. My gut is never wrong," Naruto said them. Ron told him, "Don't worry, bro. I think he's creepy too. I mean, he has to be evil because he really likes monkeys, he told him. Naruto commented, yeah, when he touched me his hand felt like a monkey's hand, because the man had strange hands. Bonnie remarked, that ain't right, picturing that. Kim remarked, welp, family game night awaits, since Naruto wouldn't let her leave. Naruto remarked, great, gives me a chance to see Larry again, as he had previously met Larry and he wasn't all that horrible. And Kim, you have to join in as you always have to make time for family, he stated, because although family could be annoying, they were still family. Yeah, well at least I have you with me, Kim replied. Bonnie felt a little envious of Kim's close-knit family because, aside from her mother, her family was awful, her father was a jerk, and her sisters were bitches. A few hours later, Larry asked Naruto, how do you always win, as he was beaten by him in Fortress, as he always does when he comes to play. Naruto remarked, tons and tons of practice dude, as he had more time. One of these days, I swear I'm going to beat you, Larry chuckled. As he and Kim responded, Naruto's communicator beeped, not now, he said. Kim remarked, what's up Wade, kinda busy with family time here, since it wasn't as horrible as she had anticipated. Wade typed on his computer, I did some more research on that idol you sent me a pic of, and it turns out it's part of some monkey legend and it's legit. Should someone bring it together with 3 other relics like it, they'll be granted the power of Tai Xing Pek Kuo, or monkey kung fu. Wade started to perspire uneasily as Naruto asked him, how do you know all this? Just yesterday you said magic was bogus. Wade, what did you do? He inquired, looking at him. Wade cautiously told him, I might have sent Ron and Bonnie ahead with my holograms of you guys. In an attempt to maintain self-control, Kim inquired, sent them where? To see Monty Fisk, apparently he's the go-to guy for stuff like this, Wade whispered anxiously to them. They yelled, Wade, which made him wince. Concerned about Ron and Bonnie, Naruto asked him, Monty Fisk will kill them, how are they? Wade told them, better than you'd think, as he demonstrated the situation. Ron exclaimed, hey monkeys hit me, as the child was blasted into the air by the mysterious force that entered his body and caused the monkey statue's eyes to light up. As Rufus screamed out of his pocket, feeling the power flow through him as well, Ron yelled, oh yeah, I am feeling it. I'm feeling the monkey. With Naruto. Looking up at Ron, Naruto felt a weird power blossoming within his best buddy, and this wasn't the first time either. He suddenly grasped his chest as he felt the seal blaze brilliant red, indicating Goku's aura. Naruto smirked as he thought, I was right, Ron, you're something else, because even before he had memories, he had always felt something was off. Monkey Fist yelled, no. Mystical monkey power was to be mine alone, as Ron fell to the ground, his eyes blazing. When Ron remarked, I'm afraid I must disagree, he struck a kung fu position. Monkey Fist snarled and lunged at him, blocking his blow before throwing him against a nearby pillar. When the monkey man attempted to reclaim him, Ron gave him a hard flip kick, sending him flying high into the air and leaping after him. Ron struck Monkey Fist in the face with a strong right hook, then kicked him twice in the stomach, sending him to the ground while he clung to the pillar and scratched his armpit like a monkey. When he stood up, the monkey's fist collided with Naruto's back, sending him crashing into a wall. A few moments ago, back with Naruto. Kim said, since when can he fight? When Naruto saw Rufus holding a very familiar kunai, he smirked and whispered, wait a minute. Get ready, Kim, he murmured, grabbing Kim as they vanished in an instant. Before passing out from geeking out, Larry exclaimed, "Teleportation, awesome," as he swiped the air where they were. "Now including Bonnie and Ron," Naruto remarked, "We're here, oh shit, monkey feet," upon realizing that Monty Fisk had ape feet rather than human ones. When they saw it, the tailed monsters yelled in contempt. Kim said, "I swear I'm gonna throw up, since that was disgusting." Bonnie remarked, "Been there done that," as she actually did upon seeing it. Naruto, feeling like throwing up himself, exclaimed, "What in the literal fuck is wrong with you?" "I am Monkey Fist, I am perfection," Fist angrily declared to them. When Fist failed to respond, Naruto chuckled and continued, "You're not a monkey, monkeys have tails, where's yours?" Seriously, who does messed up shit like that? He wondered, as someone who would do such was mentally ill. A woman who is enamored with crossbred animal toys sneezed somewhere in the world. Ron remarked, "Also monkey dude," as they all flipped a statue of a monkey over, shattering and detonating it in green light. Fist exclaimed, "No," before Naruto struck him in the face. As they gazed at the hybrid man laughing, Naruto remarked, "Not sure who to call the cops or animal control." Bonnie was astonished by Ron's ability to fight like that and stated, "I'd go with cops, and you did good, Ron, since when can you fight like that?" The words, "I got monkey powers," Ron told them. Kim responded, unsure of what to say. Naruto said, "Give it a second," plainly. Then, even though he had chosen to acquire them, Ron shouted when he realized he had monkey powers. 1 week later, Shego was reading a magazine on his bed when Naruto said, "Can I ask why you are in my house?" Shego remarked, "It's unbelievable that you live with your dad." "You have some excellent reading material here, buddy," she replied, pointing to the magazine. Naruto told her, "I'm moving, your boss had literal treasure on the island and I found it, after purchasing a mansion and all of its possessions." Shego asked, "Really?" since she had never heard that before. Naruto said, "Yeah, so what do you want?" Shego remarked simply, "You have game, I see it in your eyes, the princess may not see it but I do, you're different from everyone else," whenever she glanced in the mirror and saw those same eyes. Knowing that they were both mercenaries and essentially persons for hire, Naruto inquired inquisitively, "Oh, you have no idea, but what's your point?" Since she had never met someone with his level of expertise, Shego asked him, "How about you partner up with me?" "Come on, every time we've fought, neither of us has actually won," she said. As he did have standards, Naruto told her, "True, but I ain't betraying my friends or working for a half-wit." Speaking of where's your dipshit boss, he questioned her, unsure if he was in his home. Shego stated, "He said he found something more superior than me," but she was not at all certain that she was superior to anything. As he watched Monkey Fist battle, Naruto sneered and suppressed a laugh. "Better than you? You're the only person I've ever fought that's been like my equal in combat," he muttered, confident that he could defeat him. "Why thank you," Shego responded, appreciating the compliment but desiring more. "Since we're talking, how does a person in a hero family become a crook for hire?" Naruto inquired. Shego asked him inquisitively, "Great, do the princesses and buffoon know?" "I don't tell other people's business unless it is life or death. Your secret is safe with me," Naruto said her. Even as a mercenary, Shego had standards for her actions, and the worst she had done was cause serious bodily harm, but never murder or anything involving children. "You're just like me. It's scary. You have a code, don't you?" Shego asked. "Obviously," Naruto said plainly, following his instincts. Shego claimed to have a Superman complex and that the only siblings she liked were her twin younger brothers. Anyway, I left my brothers and that stupid hero group as I couldn't stand it anymore, she stated. Naruto remarked, yeah, that whole Higo, Wigo, Mago thing was a bit ridiculous, after reading the Ghost City Heroes more in-depth articles. See? At least you get it, Shego remarked, finding it pleasant to finally have a conversation partner. Curiously, Naruto asked her, so why turn to crime? The statement, paid more than teaching, was made casually by Shego. Unsure of how to react, Naruto answered, okay. That kind of explains why you're with Draken. In a way he qualifies as a child, he remarked, causing her to laugh out loud. Wanna make a deal? He asked her inquisitively. Shego appeared wise enough to make her an offer she would enjoy, so she inquired, what do you have in mind, Blondie? When Naruto saw her lengthy file, he remarked, what if I could make most of your crimes disappear? As she completed her study and discovered Wade's IQ, Shego urged, go on, enjoying everything so far. I mean, your little tech boy manager seems smart, she said. How about you work for me and that's about it? Hell, you can have one of my rooms for free, she replied to Naruto. Shego quizzed him, you said you were moving, where? Huge mansion by the beach with a pool, Naruto informed her. As they shook hands, Shego remarked, okay, I'm in. What do you want me to do? She inquired. Naruto asked inquisitively, well, first tell me what Draken has that made him think he could replace you. Draken was stupid, but not so stupid as to replace Shego without some assurance. Since Draken had been working on it for years, Shego remarked, I actually had no idea he was working on it before I ever showed up. Do you know what his real name is? Maybe I could dig something up, remarked Naruto. Shego chuckled, drew Lipsky, and Naruto joined in on her laughter. Naruto told her, okay, a little more respect for him changing his name to Draken. After a few hours, Shego remarked, gotta admit this place is nice, after touring the mansion and finding more than 24 rooms, a patio ready for a party, a beautiful view of the ocean, a large garage, a large pool, a gym, a gourmet kitchen, and a state-of-the-art living room equipped with everything a gamer and movie buff could possibly need. Naruto said, catch, and threw her some cash. When Shego told him, $5,000 okay if this is my salary I'm sold, Naruto told her, no, that's for you to do whatever the hell you want to your room. Shego answered, oh, still good, allowing her to relocate a lot of her belongings here and even legalizing her car's license plates. Naruto inquired inquisitively, I understand the financial concern, but have you ever considered pursuing a career in teaching? Shego winked at him and asked, why have a fantasy of doing it with a teacher? Naruto actually gave it some thought, but he was interrupted when they heard someone enter the home. Did anybody follow you? He inquired, and she shook her head. They then moved to the front and saw his squad. Kim and Bonnie were so envious that they exclaimed, why is she here? We had an easy time. Shego grinned arrogantly as she saw their eyes flicker with resentment and jealousy before Naruto struck her in the back of the skull. Before glaring at one another, Kim and Bonnie remarked, good because I got dibs. Curious, Ron said, dude, I gotta know what's your secret. Sighing, Naruto stroked his head and told him, my secret is chaos follows me wherever I go, since it was the most accurate thing he had ever stated. Late at night, Naruto asked Shego, you sure, while they were looking into a disappearance. Shego responded, yeah, I've definitely seen this guy's picture before, when examining the photo of the missing individual. Naruto answered, well, if you think of something, let me know, hoping Shego would connect the dots while he had weighed on this. Shego smirked sensuously as she continued, "You probably don't want to hear what I'm thinking about," as she wasn't thinking about the missing individual. Kim said, "Watch it, from a distance." Shego groped his ass and remarked, "She makes it too easy." Bonnie murmured, watching her, paws off. As he parted them, Naruto sighed and said, "Can we please focus?" Shego stated, "With you heroes chances are slim," and the other girls genuinely concurred. Kim told them, "This guy looks familiar, I think I saw him, only younger, in one of my dad's old school yearbooks from college," as if she had seen the man before. The following day, Naruto said, "We need a vacation because 2 scientists were kidnapped, which was stupid." Bonnie asked, "Why these guys?" as they were employed in various scientific fields. In one of her father's college yearbooks, Kim noticed this person again, although he was younger. "Hey, another one," she exclaimed. "Okay, once is happenstance, but again. Seems like somebody's going after people your father went to college with, but why?" Naruto responded. "My dad, they could go after my dad." Kim exclaimed, holding up a photo of her father with the 2 scientists who were missing. Naruto told her, "I think we need to have a chat with your dad, Kim," because he believed that this was an important situation that could be a kidnapping, particularly because he had already abducted the other 2. An hour later, while preparing his lunch, James Possible questioned his daughter, "Why are you asking about my college days?" Shego said, "Listen, Dr. P, do you have any grudges, since everyone was making enemies and he seemed obnoxious enough to do so?" "And please think only during college," she said, noticing that he appeared to be considering his father's needs at the time. Reflecting on the past, James remarked, "Well, there was this one guy we teased a bit." Naruto asked him, "You teased a guy," since it didn't seem like him at all. James started explaining to them why he made fun of this man. The words, "Oh God, that's hysterical," sent Naruto tumbling to the ground in laughter. Shego was frantically attempting to maintain her professionalism, but she was failing horribly. Kim was also giggling uncontrollably. "God, that is next level sad," Bonnie replied, shaking her head. "Well, to be fair, interacting with people can be hard," replied Ron. Shego, still trying not to chuckle, asked, "You're going to defend making robot women?" Ron remarked, "Oh no, I'm just saying that integrating with women when you're nervous is something I can relate to," because he had gone through that himself, but he still felt a little proud. Naruto demanded answers, asking, "Okay, who was he?" The simple statement, "Drew don't remember his last name," came from James. "Oh God no," Shego said, rubbing her face. "Was his last name Lipsky?" she inquired angrily. "Oh yeah, that was it," James remarked, chuckling. Naruto remarked, "It's Draken of course," as the world had a grating sense of humor. 3 similar blonde robot women burst in the door at that precise moment. James yelled angrily, "Hey, I just got through painting that." Naruto remarked angrily, "I think you should be more concerned with us killing them." Shego furiously remarked, "Draken thought he could replace me with these," as she clawed one of them and discovered that her claws had hardly penetrated. Okay, for once he made something adequate, she admitted, sincerely amazed that they were tough. Naruto remarked, "He's so cheap, he couldn't even make them human-looking, since that would have been preferable. Maybe he has a robot fetish?" Ron chuckled. "Good one, stoppable," Shego replied, genuinely impressed by that remark, and she snorted and covered her mouth to contain her laughter since that is exactly what Draken would have done. Before noticing that he was pouring cups with water, Kim responded, "Keep behind me, Dad." "What are you doing?" she questioned. "Ha, still got bugs. Every one old Drew showed us always had one flaw, they weren't waterproof," he added with a laugh as he sprayed water at them, causing them to spark and topple over. Naruto muttered, "Ugh, might want to check that math again," as they returned, defeated them all, and captured Mr. Dr. Possible. "Dad!" Kim cried out in alarm. Naruto remarked, "Okay, now I'm pissed," as his eyes grew red and he developed slits. "Since when can he do that?" Shego asked, finding that intriguing. "I kinda stopped keeping track as there's always something new," Bonnie commented. "Ow, ow, ow, I got a hand," Ron exclaimed while grasping one of the robot's hands that attempted to break free of his hold. Naruto said, "Give it," and moved it around him. Bonnie said inquisitively, "What are you doing?" "There we go," Naruto remarked, rushing out as he observed the hand behave strangely in a certain direction. "Using it like a compass, this thing wants its body." Seeing the automobile in front of them, Shego whispered to Kim, "Hey, give me your keys." Since we couldn't possibly catch him on foot, she begged to watch the fight between Naruto and Kim. After a few minutes, as she watched Naruto rip the robots to pieces, Shego said, "This is awesome." In an attempt to liberate her father and his pals, Kim begged, "Shego, could you please help?" Without even looking, Shego raised her hand and blasted the prison they were in, causing it to shut down. Draken said, "Shego, I order you T-dash," before being blasted. As he declined to extend her contract, Shego remarked, "My contract's up anyway, plus he pays better," and Naruto was superior to Draken in terms of company and bitching. Standing on a heap of demolished robots, Naruto gasped for air. He raised one, then smashed its skull. Naruto uttered, "Boo," to Draken. "Mommy," Draken remarked, appearing to be about to get wet. After a few hours, while they were relaxing in his living room, Shego remarked, "You have to show me how you accomplished that." "Yeah babe, that'd be real cool," Bonnie said smirkingly. Kim looked at him like a puppy dog and said, "Please." Naruto grabbed the boy's collar and said, "Okay, holster those weapons you call eyes," to Kim. "I'll teach you, and you too, Ron, you aren't getting out of this," he said. Ron exclaimed, "Aw man," as he was apprehended. Shego simply smiled malevolently when Bonnie questioned, "What are you gonna do while we are at school?" Kim and Bonnie thought, "I don't like that grin." The following day, Naruto exclaimed, "Oh my god," when he and the others entered science and saw Shego dressed professionally, with a short skirt and heels on and the top button of her dress shirt undone. "I thought she was kidding about the teacher thing," he thought to himself. Shego began, "Hello class, I'm Ms. Go." "What do you think, Mr. Uzumaki?" she whispered in his ear. Naruto spoke the words, "Well, I'm pretty sure all my blood is going somewhere and it ain't my brain," without speaking. Shego said, "Perfect, now, please have a seat," indicating the seat nearest her desk. Bonnie and Kim thought, "Oh boy," as they also examined her. Ron couldn't bear to watch Shego in her clothes, so he passed asleep on the ground. After class, with a sneer and passion in her eyes, Shego asked, "Mr. Uzumaki, would you mind staying after class?" After exchanging stern glances, Kim and Bonnie took hold of his arms and pulled him from the room. "They make it too easy," smirking, Shego added. Bonnie and Kim told him, "Don't leave after basketball," as they walked away with a little more hip sway. As his host needed to get banged, Kurama happily remarked, "Looks like somebody is finally going to lose his V card. Are you sure you won't watch any of it?" Naruto inquired, a little worried. Matatabi and Kokuo fiercely glared and hissed at their brothers, saying, "No, they are not." After school, a few hours later, after basketball practice, Naruto remained in the gym until everyone had left. "Okay, I need a shower," he remarked, going to the restrooms because he hadn't anticipated Kim and Bonnie keeping him waiting for so long. After entering the men's locker room, he went to the showers and undressed while rubbing his head against the rain. After a few days, after dealing with the senior family for nothing but bullshit, Naruto stated, "Next time Ron, if you ever meet someone who is eccentric, don't give them ideas of supervillainy." Ron admitted, "Okay, this was my fault." Shego stated, "Hey, at least I got something out of it," as she grabbed a vase and received stares from Kim and Ron. What they were villains stealing from villains ain't a crime, she told them, as if she could sue them in retaliation for attempting to injure her. Kim rolled her eyes. 1 week later, Naruto and the others stared at Draken's brain swap machine. You can make a thing that switches brains, but you can't make something that can actually make you smarter. Threatening, "I don't think so," Naruto stated. They heard Draken yell, "I am so a threat. And I'll make you all see that I am truly the baddest dude of all," he continued. Naruto remarked, "He makes it too easy," as he avoided a Draken shot that struck the machine and caused it to spark. "Dude, for real. Can you make something that doesn't spark and explode so easily?" he asked, recalling a certain insane scientist he had seen in a cartoon whose creations exploded so easily every time. As the machine started to light and hum loudly, everyone turned to watch. Naruto rushed to it and plugged in his communicator, saying, "Guys, that thing is building up a lot of power." Draken exclaimed, "Oh BBs," and hurriedly left after calling for the newest robotic minions. Kim said, "Wade, what's up with this thing?" "I don't know, it's overloading, you guys gotta get out of there before it blows," Wade told them. As the machine illuminated, Ron remarked, "I might be a little late for that." As the machine exploded, Naruto could only shout, "Everyone get back!" After a few minutes, after digging himself out of the timeshare lair's debris, Naruto started searching for the others and eventually located them. When he did, he was astounded by what he discovered. Kim's legs appeared more defined, and she had a streak of pure white in her hair. She also appeared to grow a six-pack of muscle. Ron appeared to grow taller by an inch or two, increase strength, and develop red mutton chops. Shego appeared to have developed stronger claws and a more gorgeous figure. He noticed that one of her emerald eyes had turned a dark navy blue, and her hair had started to streak with dark blue. Bonnie's hair was little gray, her eyes were a mix of red and brown, she grew a little muscle mass, and her height increased by 1 inch. *T, Naruto thought, sensing Isabu in Bonnie, Matatabi in Shego, Son Goku in Ron, and Kokuo inside Kim. After a few hours, looking at her bare tummy and the same tattoos they all had, Shego questioned, "So we all have matching tattoos?" Kim was pacing back and forth when Naruto remarked, "Yes, and stop panicking." He added that they would vanish because they weren't permanent. "Will they? I mean, this ain't like those fake tattoos you get at the carnival, my parents will flip." Kim exclaimed with a scream. With composure, Naruto remarked, "Listen, stop, calm down, okay, give it a moment, it'll go away." "I hope," he teased. "Not helping," Bonnie exclaimed, going into her own little panic. Ron said, "I could get used to this," while he was moving furniture and picking up a chair. As it was his furniture, Naruto remarked, Ron put those down. That stuff ain't cheap, like the stuff your family gets, he stated to him gravely, since Ron's parents had somewhat betrayed him. You're not wrong, Ron said, putting the items down, acknowledging that he had a point. Where's Rufus? Inquired Naruto. Ron patted him down, but he was unable to locate his nude mole friend. Rufus soon came out, and they noticed that he had black circles under his eyes. Shikaku? Curiously, Naruto pondered. Given Rufus's size, Shikaku thought to Naruto, little guy must have gotten a bit of my chakra. He was shocked that the little mouse had acquired that much. Then Rufus spewed up some lava and burped. Fearing fire, Ron said, "Whoa," and leaped back, saying, "Ah, put it out, put it out, put it out." Bonnie? Inquired Naruto. Bonnie concentrated, and soon she extinguished the lava and extinguished the flames by shooting water from her palms. Rufus complained as he spat out some water, telling them it was not fun, while Bonnie sprayed him. Kim remarked, "I wonder what powers I got. Please don't try here, I don't want my house to be a sauna or have a hole in it," Naruto said her. Shego said, "Sauna? You mean hers is steam," in an attempt to capitalize on the fact that she enjoyed visiting spas. "Yes, now please don't try anything while I try to figure this out," Naruto said. Okay, Draken's mind swap machine exploded, yes, but why weren't our minds swapped? Why did only the tailed beasts in me get swapped out? They responded. Uncertain of any other explanation, Shego responded to him, "Well, maybe because you were at point blank." As those three defeated the tailed creatures 2-5, Kurama told him, "Yeah, and why couldn't one of them get Shikaku? I've had enough of this psychopath. Just be careful, okay?" These changes were slight, so we're good for now, Naruto told them, ignoring the brotherly argument in his head in order to concentrate on the current problem. As she felt like altering her clothes to a darker green and turning the black to a darker blue, Shego remarked, I think I could make this hair thing work." She hoped her brother wouldn't see this as a hint that she was idolizing him or something. Kim and Bonnie remarked, "Same," believing they appeared somewhat more stylish. Naruto chuckled and remarked, "Of course you'd see fashion side of this." Ron felt up his mutton chops and said, "What about me, you think I could make this red thing work?" As it became clear at this time, Naruto told him, "Grow a full beard and we'll talk." In fact, Sun's last host had a beard, he added. Bonnie flexed in front of the mirror and remarked, "I kind of like being muscular, and an inch taller." Kim remarked, "And I'm liking what this has done for my legs and body," after noticing how toned her legs and body were. Shego declared, "Well, my job is way easier," since her figure looked better than ever. "Also don't forget, now with Matatabi you're probably a lot more flexible now," Naruto said her. It was cool that her eyes were a different color, but since it would be difficult to explain how one of her eyes changed color, Shego added, "Maybe I can have my hair cover my other eye now that it's blue," with a sexy smile. Bonnie told her, "I'd go with the hair thing, contacts are a nightmare to get out," after she had once done it to be trendy but later regretted it because it took ages to remove the contacts. Later with Kim at night, "Whoa," Kim said upon discovering that she was in a plane that resembled grassland. Kokuo said, "Hello Ms. Possible," to her newest host. Kim exclaimed, "Whoa," as she saw the magnificent white horse, which was so large and had 5 tails that it appeared to be partially whale, standing proudly close to her. "Hello," she muttered, at a loss for words. As she introduced herself, Kokuo replied, "It is a pleasure. Naruto thinks of you fondly." Kim remarked that she never expected a meet and greet because it was her first time. Kokuo told her that, life can be strange, Kim, and trust me, it will get stranger, because that was how people's lives occasionally were. Alongside Bonnie, when Bonnie found herself below, she was surrounded by such colorful underwater life. Isabu, who was directly beneath Bonnie, remarked, "The sea sure is beautiful, isn't it?" Bonnie exclaimed aloud, "Yeah, I mean wow." "Wait, how am I not choking?" she asked him. Being semi-aquatic but able to hold his breath for a considerable amount of time, Isabu remarked, "1. This is your mind, and 2. You have the ability to breathe underwater, but it's not indefinite, mind you." Bonnie exclaimed excitedly, "So what can you do?" "What can I do?" Much, Isabu laughed as he purposefully used ambiguity. With Ron. Ron was rushing around in terror when Sun stated, "I got screwed." Alongside Shego, as she lay in bed after leaving Go Tower, Shego remarked, "So my mindscape brought me here, huh?" Matatabi, who was about the size of a typical house cat, stated, "If it helps, I had zero power in this." Shego remarked, "No offense, but I thought you'd be bigger." The on-fire cat looked cool, but it wasn't very frightening. As Shego scooped her up, Matatabi exclaimed, "Normally I am, whoa." Shego remarked, "You're so cute, it's impossible not to do this," and started to pet her, causing the tailed beast to purr. Matatabi continued to purr and remarked, "You have a surprisingly gentle touch for a human with claws." Shego informed the blue fire cat, "I used to have a cat when I was a kid. So why'd I come here? I can't stand this place, well except spending time with the Go twins." Matatabi addressed her, saying, "You tell me I didn't make this place." Shego remarked, "Well, I sure don't miss it." Since she was aware of the distinction between missing a location and missing a simpler time, Matatabi asked her bluntly, "Do you? Or do you miss what once was?" "Well, let's see, the only things that made this livable were the twins and nothing else," Shego replied. Matatabi said, "Perhaps you miss your family, or perhaps the feeling of being a hero." "Maybe, but I'm okay with who I am now," Shego said. "Though I hope the twins are doing okay," she continued. "Perhaps you are having conflicted feelings of leaving your family behind, who knows what's become of them now that you're gone," Matatabi stated. Shego told her, highly irritated, "Okay, you're not helping. Listen, I was okay being a hero, and being a mercenary wasn't bad, alright. I made decent pay and it was better than doing it with my brothers, 2 who sucked and 2 who were decent," she continued, enjoying her independence. Matatabi remarked, "Do you not miss your brothers?" She loved her brothers and hated them for their foolishness. Shego, who wasn't always proud of what she did, said, "I miss the twins. Part of me wishes I brought them along with me, but then they'd become just like me." She didn't want her younger siblings to think poorly of her since she wasn't sure she could handle it. Matatabi remarked, "Then maybe you're feeling guilty for not getting to say goodbye," as she and her siblings expressed remorse for many things that had been spoken and many more things that had gone unspoken. Shego responded, "Whatever," and then she walked back. "How do I leave?" she questioned, remembering that she was in her mind. Matatabi said, "It's your head, not mine," without providing any context. Shego simply shrugged as she considered going. The following day, as Ron and the females tried to use their talents, Naruto sat against a tree and laughed, asking, "How is it only Rufus can use his powers yet you all can do jack squat?" Kim snarled as she kicked the tree, causing a few apples to fall over Naruto's head. Her snarl grew even louder when he simply consumed them. Shego's plasma hands changed a jade green, and she remarked, "Well, my powers got an upgrade at least." Naruto, I'm still freaking out. Monkey powers and a monkey in me. Am I turning into a monkey? Ron said with a scream. Calm down, and technically Sun is more of ape, but I can see because of the whole four tails thing. Naruto smacked him, highlighting the fact that Sun was more of a gorilla than the monkey he was supposed to be. As Naruto struck him once more, Ron exclaimed, "Calm down, how can I? Ow, stop hitting me." Naruto remarked, "I don't know why people say to slap people when they're going crazy, as it just seems fun to me," since he found it amusing. "Let's see how you like it," Ron remarked, causing Naruto to back off with a smack. As Ron started to tremble, Naruto grinned and remarked, "Okay, we can really say Sun has given you some extra strength. Dude, you had all that fight and just lost it, come on," he stated in disappointment, showing no resentment for the slap. Ron responded, "Well, what do you expect, it's me we're talking about," without feeling embarrassed to acknowledge his cowardice. Naruto remarked, "You need to learn how to have a backbone and stand up for yourself, geez, since Sun would want his host to at least have some soul." Ron remarked, "Me with backbone? I'm spineless," since running was always his first impulse. Naruto remarked, "Well, not anymore, you're going to become an actual fighter by the time I'm done with your training," as Ron started to perspire uneasily. As Kim was teaching Bonnie how to fight, she inquired, "Why are my hits not doing anything?" after learning that her hit had no effect. "Isabu is a turtle, remember, enhanced defense," Bonnie stated. Kim kicked Bonnie, causing her to fall into a tree, saying, "Then try this." Bonnie winced and let out a painful hiss, saying, "Okay, I felt that one." Since a kick was Kokuo's defining move, Kim's statement that Kokuo has great leg muscles was made all the more apparent. As she watched Kim kneel down and leap 20 feet into the air, Bonnie remarked, "Well, at least our cheer routines will get better, let's see how you can jump now." Naruto saw it as a positive beginning and thought, well, they're learning about their physical properties.